of the devil, and it shall appear.
You're always curious where big armies are going. You're basically scouting like a hyena, watching a lion pack, and we'll see where they go. They've gotten wise after we've destroyed all their single armies. I think we have like 12 or 13 Battanian nobles. They keep escaping, of course, because at this stage, we're like prison guards trying to keep a hold of dozens of violent criminals, right? They're going to escape eventually. And we'll continue to just turn all this shit into experience. I mean, we have just ravaged this peninsula. The Sturgeons are now at war with us, so it's going to get violent. It's going to get gnarly. That's 3 kingdoms we're at war with. Ragenvad wants another round, right? Wants another taste, so don't go anywhere. In fact, let's start an episode right here. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to carnage, to battlefield tactics, to history, to profanity, and talking in a highly caffeinated manner. Glaron Heavyhand is on his trip to ascendancy in Calradia. We are leading an army, mostly foot troops. What is to say 50% archers, 50% infantry. We're on this peninsula here with the Battanians and the Sturgeons. We have Caladog and chains, and it's about time to go home and cash in on this raiding effort. This has been highly profitable, and maybe one more party here before we leave. 1,500 Valandian scum. We're a long ways away, but let's make a dash at it here. In fact, we're going to have to reduce our prisoner load here. We're not going to let go of the nobles, though, right? Come with us, Caladog. He can walk right behind our cows. They're going to shit in the snow, and he's going to have to walk in it. That's how we treat our prisoners here. 78, 70. We're still going to have a bit of a prisoner load, but we're recruiting so many prisoners, too. I just can't let these guys go. We need the troops. 30, 170. We should be able to get in with about 130, 140 troops, but that's presuming we get there, right? We've got to dump cheese and bread all over the highway here. They're going to be very fat and happy bandits when they discover all of this stuff. And part of our, let's see, I'm looking at the 2 numbers. Part of it is the ship encumbrance. You have these 2 different numbers, and it's still kind of confusing even for somebody with 150 hours in the DLC. Basically, your ships carry a lot less weight than your horses on the snowy terrain. Not sure that's super realistic, but we're rolling with it here. So we're going to try to rush over to Ustokol Castle, and then we got to get home, right? Of course, we're going to hit up the latest markets to see if they have any amazing equipment. We got to sell a bunch of shit. We've got 777,000. We've got a Boeing jetliner worth of gold, and we should make it here. They have not yet begun the assault. We're halfway there. We're trudging through the snow. Now, there's other Nord forces going that way, but you know they're not going to help, right? The AI does not have the ability to sneak into castles, and this is something I would like to see added, right? You're sieging, and little armies sneak in, and all of a sudden the siege assault is going to be harder. I think it's realistic. If we can do it, the AI should be able to do it, right? And of course, that would probably make some players out there weep. You begin a siege of 400, and all of a sudden there's 900, and you're forced to decide what to do. But that is life. That's realism. Maybe it could be Bannerlord difficulty, right? Bannerlord difficulty should mean something. And we are going to make this shit. All right. 44 upgrades. Man, look at this. That's 10 more, 11 more Huskarls. We've got 32 Huskarls now. So our force is becoming a major monstrous wrecking ball, a force to be reckoned with for sure. And we're recruiting these prisoners. This is what I just mentioned. Hard to give up on the prisoners when we're slowly coaxing them into the army. And to add a fiend champ before a siege like this, that's so beautiful. You just never know if this is going to be a nail biter or if our force is strong enough to just power through this. We're getting to the point where we're OP, right? I think you can officially call our little mercenary force OP. We don't have, 50 fiend champs or anything like that. We have 1, I think, or 2. But we've got a really good rounded mix of deadly troops, and we know how to use them, right? Just like the fella who's not exactly hung, we know how to use what we have. So second, third, we can finally split too, by the way. We just loaded up the 1.39 patch. Let's make a big first division. Who the fuck shot me? What did our own guys shoot us? How could I get hit inside here? That was really weird. All right, square at the gate. We've got 3 different infantry divisions to play with. The left or the right side there, we're going to need a division. And let's get our archers spread out here. This is the second siege of this castle. Siege, probably third? Second or third siege defense of this castle layout since we began this campaign. And it may be the last because I think this is a top 3 castle defense in the game. I think, here, I'll just, in case you guys want to bet $100 right now, we win this siege, right? Especially because of this. There's fire catapults right here. Of course, at this stage, Glaron Heavyhand has entered the 100-meter dash, the medieval 100-meter dash, and he ran it fully armored in 10.2 seconds. So, Usain Bolt, hold my beer. He's getting his siege skills up. We're going to be able to destroy this fire catapult at our leisure. And let me show you what an experienced player does. It's very tempting here to destroy the siege tower. We talked about this in a previous episode. Don't. Just destroy the troops next to it, right? They're standing there as packed in as tightly as they can. When the enemy's making mistakes, don't interrupt them, right? If we destroy the siege tower, these troops go elsewhere, and I won't be able to dump these fireballs into the enemy. So, aim a little bit to the left, aim a little bit to the right, and, well, don't miss. But we're going to be able to get off at least a few more shots, and I'm going to run up there. They got a fire catapult there, I think. Man, this is going to be a bonanza. We're going to be able to kill literally, start your stopwatch. I feel like Denzel Washington here. I'm like looking at all the villains. You know, there's all these banner knights and stuff. 39 seconds. 39 seconds. We're going to kill 200 Valandians. You got your stopwatch? Start them now. 39 seconds. Of course, The Equalizer, that great movie, and Denzel Washington is the, I don't need this shit. This is worthless. Let's just chuck them. We do our tricep workouts. We can throw this shit. And we try not to hit the siege tower yet. What we're going to do is kill as many Valandians as we can, right, in 36 seconds. And then we're going to hit the siege tower with one of these. Once there's nothing left to kill, or once there's a handful of guys there, then we'll hit the siege tower with one of these throws. Our guys got really good athleticism. Oh shit, I got shot. Now they're starting to go up the siege tower. So 1 or 2 more shots at the base of it, and now you aim for the siege tower, and it should blow. A couple shots at most. It already blew. So if you got your stopwatch going, how much time do I got? Do I got 20 seconds? All right, so maybe it's 2 minutes. We're going to kill hundreds of Valandians. Now we're going to run to the gate. That catapult we left there was loaded with fire catapults. Now the other side makes me nervous, right? We're going to have to micromanage the other side. The easiest way to do it if you're busy is to have your infantry division over there charge. I've got an infantry division that I assigned there. I think I mentioned that. We're going to have them charge, and what that'll do is they will aggressively get up the stairs and get after the enemy trying to get down, right? On the other side, I didn't see if they had a siege tower. I think they just have siege ladders, which means they'll be trickling up. And if your troops are told to charge, they will do a decent job holding the enemy back on the ladders. It's not something you want to do all the time, but in a situation like this where you're busy, out of the way here, little podling. Look at this fucking juicy shot. And the whole screen, I can't even see. This guy and I are playing hopscotch, and we're just bombarding him. That's a truck, and he's trucking his own people, right? Oh, well, actually, those are... He's just... Oh, shit. I just blew somebody up. Sorry about that. Who threw that fireball? We'll have a full investigation after the battle. Someone was really careless there. Hit our own troops. We're going to find out who did that. There will be punishment. You know, we'll have to do an investigation. Someone was so careless there. You get another fireball. Is there one left? There's 2 left. And we're only probably going to be able to throw the one. And I don't know, has it been 2 minutes yet? We've for sure killed 100, 150 Valandians. I mean, this was just a fireball mania. We killed almost all the guys at the gate. Now we can get our axes on. We got a full health bar. The enemy's reeling. In fact, we got some throwing axes. Let's set up archers here. This is part of the reason this castle is untakeable. Watch this shit. Archers there. A block of skirmishers and or infantry below me here. And this siege is over. Those infantry, once they get up here, cannot get to these archers. They can't get through the other side. I think I just blew a guy off the wall with an axe throw. All right, let's get archers up here. That's usually they're routing. They're already routing. Well, this was 2 minute total siege. Wow, that's actually a little disappointing. We'll try to let the enemy do better next time. That was... Sorry to ruin your suspense. Look at this guy. You ain't getting away. Who the fuck said you could leave? He's trying to scurry away. Get the fuck out of here. And I'm a little at a loss of words, which is rare for me, right? Usually you don't. That was a lot of Vlandians, and they insta-routed. We only killed 500. But we also had almost no death. So 10-to-1 kill ratio. The enemy will rout if you have that kind of a kill ratio, and we did. We got 277 kills in like 2 minutes. And look at the engineering, look at the endurance, look at the throwing skills, and we're off to the races here. And this is, I think we mentioned this a couple, 3 episodes ago, that this campaign is about to snowball. And for some players, this is where it starts to sort of lose fun. The challenge can start to slip away a little bit. I mean, that's not to say we're not going to lose any more battles from here on out. That's just to say, though, that our army we just punched in the Tesla insane mode, right? Our army is going to flatten stuff in the open field. If you didn't see last episode, we fought Caladog when we were badly outnumbered, and it was just a schooling. And I guess let's go home here. There's a bunch of exciting music playing, and there's no enemy to slay, so we'll just go home, I guess. Sorry, we were too efficient there. We are at war with Sturgia, though, right? So it's going to be feisty. We got to get these Vlandian scum lords, these Vlandian and Botanian lords home so that we can ransom them, right? We've got, or I guess we can put them in the garrison. Now, we're going to keep doing these quests. I keep telling you guys, these are great. Look, we can basically teleport these troops, so we'll give them a couple of trucks. You don't want to put your best troops here, because if they fail the quest, you lose these troops, right? Don't do Wildlings and Sky God Chosen. But we don't have many bad troops at this stage, right? We have so many upgraded troops from this extended raid. And that's part of the reason that we thrashed them in that siege assault. We only have 150 to 170 troops, right, in most of these battles. But we know how to use them. Glaron Heavyhand is a menace on the battlefield. On top of everything else, we have speed banners. And our companions are starting to hit like upper teens, right? In level 19, 20, 21. Not this episode probably, but in a couple episodes, I'm going to give you guys a 10-minute companion glance. You can sort of see what we got. I'll talk about their equipment a little bit. I'll talk about the banners that I prefer for them. And then what we'll do is we'll do that right before a battle, and then we'll put them into place. And on the battlefield, I'll talk about sort of my philosophy of who goes where, how many companions I want on the field, what about governors, stuff like that, right? Generally speaking, I don't do a whole lot of governors. We don't have any fiefs, right? We're still a vassal, or excuse me, we're still a mercenary. So we don't, you know, what did I say? We don't have too many fiefs. We have no fiefs. We're homeless, right? So we do want to become a vassal soon. We've got enough money to do so. So I guess we can find the king, and we've got just our ship is loaded. I feel kind of like those despicable slave traders going across the ocean to America, right? Or from America, well, from Africa to America, right? With the boat full of people in chains. Fortunately, though, these are combatants. So this is the rule of the game, right? You want to declare war on us. All these bitches, the Caladog, Ragenvad declared war. Well, you get a free cruise ride in the bottom of the boat. Hopefully there aren't a lot of rats, you know, just some rats. And, you know, now we're going to toss you into a dungeon here. I don't think this is, I still disagree with this. Guys all the time say, don't ransom prisoners. Don't ransom these nobles. Deposit them to the dungeon and you'll get tons of influence. And holy shit, more elite gear. Look at, it's another one. They're so legendary that there's lots of them. And personally, I think this is broken, or at least it needs to be nerfed. I mean, if we're going to nerf Fiend Champs, how do you not nerf? Well, the more I think about it, maybe they did this to give the Nords some advantages, because it's an awful big advantage. Every time we go to a city, I'm floored by the equipment. It's just like legendary all over the place. And our character's like level 25, 26 maybe. And he's in his final gear already, right? He's got boss level gear. We could find a better helmet or something like that, but the rest of his gear is so elite that I don't know. I'm not going to be too excited if we find more gear. It'd be hard for it to be better. Now we're starting to hemorrhage funds, but we have lots of funds, right? We still get to ransom off some nobles. And every siege is probably a $250,000 siege. So money is not an issue at this stage. The guys that are out there, you know, they're doing workshops and stuff like that. Don't do that, right? Don't prioritize workshops. If you're trying to make money in Bannerlord, please come to the channel, learn some tactics, learn some siege defense. It's the easiest way to get rich fast in Bannerlord. I mean, what was that siege? A 5-minute siege, right? And we got, I don't know. It's hard to add it up, but my estimate for a siege like that is $500,000. I think that's fair, right? And we're loaded to the gills here. We got legendary everything, right? And let's replace legendary with legendary. Where's this shit? Right here. Now we must have like 50 axes, right? 9 and 9. It's getting kind of absurd. And our gear is sick. It only costs us 100K. Let's deposit this scum into the... Well, you're going to make a deposit of sack of shit enemies right here. So we get 170 influence per... Or 170 gold per influence. So 100 would be 17,000. This is just shit. I don't understand what people are talking about. 55 influence. 55 times 170. Isn't that like 9,000? Isn't my math? 55, 170. Yeah. 8,000? No idea what people are talking about. Maybe I'm confused. Someone really smart, it sounded like he was a math professor, said, I don't understand the system very well. Well, maybe, could someone write a detailed comment and say, this is what you don't understand? Tell me what I just, tell me how I just benefited us financially. Generally, I would have guessed we would have gotten 50,000 or more from ransoming those prisoners. But people say, donate influence. Is it because we get relation with lords? Maybe that's it, right? A lot of guys out there are charming lords. They want good relations with lords so that they can buy them into their army later on. Maybe that's what they're referring to. Because it's not a monetary, unless I'm just totally kooked on the math, right? Once I'm like racking my brain. If it was 200, it would have only been 10 grand, right? It's 50 something influence. I just don't get it. I think it's many times, it's like a fraction, like 20% or 30% of what we would have gotten for ransoming them. So I don't really understand, but I could be wrong. I'm wrong often. And oh no, I got to stop buying everything. We're buying shit and then we're encumbered. We need a fief, right? What I start doing at this stage very soon is we are going to start stockpiling goods, stockpiling food. We'll get to that stage. 2,200. And what just happened here? Peace with the Botanians. Well, it's nice they waited until we got, you know, our money for those lords, even though it's not very much. Let's see here. I don't think there's really anything we can do with our ships. You can't get more than 3 ships until you start getting the perks. I wish it was like 4 or 5. You see, if we buy more, it says your ship you'll be over your fleet limit. You can only have 3 until you start getting the perks. And the perks are at high level. You got to get to like 200 shipmaster or something like that. Maybe we'll talk about it at some point. But there's a lot of people complaining that it's really hard to level these skills. Well, they've improved it. I can tell you that from some of the patch notes that this is actually better. What we're dealing with right now is significantly improved, right? So it's better, and we're getting quests done. So here we get that teleportation, right? We're 187 troops right now, and when we get to shore, we're going to get even more. Now I'm going by this city here because I want to see if there's, you know, a fucking legendary tier 6 axe or some shit. It just seems to be, when it rains, it pours. And my assumption on the equipment is that eventually it's going to get nerfed. We get 16 more troops. We have almost 200 troops. Might as well just take everything here, right? You just recruit at least the Reaver, the future Mariner troops. And we could do this quest. I like to do quests because, again, you teleport those troops. These guys will succeed 80-something% of the time. And then, you know, later on, these troops land on us. It's a really nice way to sort of defer them, right? It's almost like we have 220 troops. They're just not all with us at the same time. Now, Goring Lautir is gathering an army. All right. Let's see what's here. And look at this shit. This can't be normal, right? This is supposed to be the kind of thing you pee yourself when you get it in a battle. A masterwork noble bow, and I can just buy it like it's, you know, a trinket at a garage sale. And it's not that expensive, right? Even those are great arrows. It seems like every city, there's a bunch of great shit. There's a legendary this and legendary that. And again, I've said it before, if everything is legendary, then it's not, right? If everybody is, you know, the best bowler of all time, then nobody is, right? There needs to be some distinction. So we'll just buy, I guess we'll just keep rolling with it. I'll stop complaining. I mean, I'll try not to, but it's sort of absurd. I don't even know where we got this thing. Brigadin over Haber. Was that loot? I feel like somebody who won the lottery and on the way to cashing, you know, my lottery for 800,000, an armored car crashed in front of us and cash just poured in my windows here. I'm like drowning. We're drowning in gold and good equipment, and it's finally time to start getting this guy into some Nord shit here. Although that's not very Nord-like. We need some better armor. We're going to definitely do a little role-playing, even at the cost of a little bit of armor. Now, I'm not going to take huge downgrades to equipment, right? We're not going to put... Like, that's a really big downgrade there. I'd like to get him some better Nord armor, but that guy's going to be one of our primary meat grinders, right? We're going to have an infantryman in our first division eventually that is going to be getting pounded on by huge armies. We need them to be rigorous and very, very strong armor. And it's one of those things, it's a tough decision, right? Because I have clearly better equipment for this guy, but then he would look like an incongruous Mr. Potato Head with just, you know, this weird part sticking over here and that weird part here. Already looks terrible, or at least he looks incongruous. But sometimes, you know, function over form, right? When your infantryman is wearing fancy gear and he goes down like a bitch 30 seconds into the fight, you regret not putting good gear on him. And we have so much good equipment already. I got this Masterwork Noble bow, Masterwork Noble longbow, and I just, you know, I kind of like shrugged. That's what I mean. You know, you can take some of the joy out of it if you just wander around. This campaign's bare. I haven't even become a vassal yet, and we're already loaded to the gills with equipment. So I think it could be adjusted. And if guys are angry after it gets adjusted downwards, I would say be gentle on me. I will say that something fantastic is happening, especially from my perspective. I'm obviously biased. I'm part of a Discord. I was very generously invited by Tailworlds. There's a bunch of other content creators in there. You probably visit their channels. Whoops, I was just telling you these quests usually succeed and we just lost some troops. Well, they don't always work. Doesn't really matter. We're overloaded with troops anyways. But we have been giving feedback and bug reports to Tailworlds since about a week before it was released to the public, the DLC, War Sales. And that is because they were very generous and gave us basically sort of the beta version, right? They did that so we could test for bugs. They did that so that we could make content and build hype for this series. And I was very, very, trying to think of the word, very, very grateful for that. Because if you don't know, and I don't want to dredge it up forever, but I erroneously, accidentally misunderstood the release of the 1.3 update. This was about 2 months ago, and I was live streaming it way before I was allowed to do so per Tailworlds. They basically have something called an embargo. If they give us trade secrets, right? Like there's some kind of new expansion pack coming next year, and they tell us you can play it or you can know about it, but you can't put YouTube videos out until April. If you put YouTube videos out in March, you know, it's basically a major violation of trust. Well, they didn't catch me so much as they realized that I had misunderstood the embargo on the 1.3 patch, and we're going to be able to get another siege here. I think we make it there. But let me just finish this. They were gracious enough and understanding enough to realize that I was just new to the industry and fucked up. And so we're still part of this Discord. And I guess the point of all that was to say they are allowing us to give them a lot of feedback, and they're listening they're listening better than I listen to my wife, which I don't know, maybe that's not a great compliment. They listen better than my wife listens to me. They are making adjustments. It is fantastic. We'll talk about it more, but let's get this siege on here. And at this stage, I feel like a siege hired gun. They tell me to go around and crush the enemy in siege assaults. And this is our specialty, right? The king is here. Wow. If that doesn't get you married to, you know, his prettiest daughter, nothing does. He's absolutely sacked here for sure. Oh, sweet. We get this perk too. I think the bottom one, right? Because it's armor penetration now for our throwing axes. We're getting stronger with our skills here. if we can save the king here, like, I guess we get to pick. Maybe we get multiple daughters of his, right? Because he's obviously fucked without our help. He would fall to the sturgeons. Now, we got to win first. I don't even know what this castle looks like. I've been trying to scout castles, but I don't think I've even entered this castle. Let's see. I have no idea where I am. I feel like I just got off a cruise boat in some European city I've never heard of. Okay, we got to split our archers to 6. Let's 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Thank God we have this ability back, right? This siege will be way harder with 1 or 2 archer divisions. We don't have very many infantry. We do have a fire catapult. It looks like right up there. There's a little disheveled archer tower. It looks like the carpenters here are all drunk when they built it. What do we got? What do we got? We got ladders right here? Okay, we got ladders to our right. There's fireballs right here. Look at that. Such a beautiful sight. Let's get archers right here. If they're going to bring guys up on ladders right here, let's be prepared for it. And then let's assess the rest of the battlefield from a catapult, right? Let's see what we can hit. There's a fire catapult there. We have at least 2 fire catapults. And damn, we can't reach that siege tower. It's way over there. But maybe we can hit these guys right here. I hope you can fire down. Oh, yeah. Kaboom, right? Just... There's a fire catapult there. So the other side is a problem. I'm gonna fire off 3-4 shots here, and then I'm gonna run over and basically position troops on the other side. In a keep siege like this, the reality is if we weren't here, if I tell all my units to go stand by the main keep back 100 yards, we lose, right? The AI can't win this fight without our help. So I got to get archers to protect our right side. We'll get an infantry division over there, and maybe even 2 infantry divisions. See what it looks like here. I can't really see.
It's a nasty looking castle, and I think we've defended this. No, you know what? We attacked this castle. Ironically, the shoe was on the other foot. I think it was part of our Nord campaign where we were exploring, basically, before the DLC was released widely. I recognize elements of this, and this is a nasty looking castle. I would love to have this castle be ours. This is like an A- or better. There's catapults all over the place. There's great angles to the catapults. It's always a good sign when you can drill huge pockets of troops like this catapult. There's that center, just juggernaut. That was a siege tower, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure a siege tower just blew up. I've heard that sound before. And that's the sound of the enemy dying and this siege ending. I guess there's always a chance that we botch this somehow. But we have fire catapults all over the place. I'm going to be able to rain these fire catapults down. It's interesting. They ran over to the ladders, and I picked up a fire catapult, and they ran away. That would be good AI, right? It'd be nice to mix in some good AI, where the AI is like, oh shit, we're being liquidated there. Let's go somewhere else. I think that's not what's happening, though. They're probably rallying more troops or something. So I'm not for sure. I can't see over there, but I think a siege tower was blown up. I heard the sound. And you've had 1,000 sieges before. You know that sound very, very well. We've got some strong triceps, and not quite, but you can see the writing on the wall here, right? I've got at least a half dozen, maybe a dozen of these fireballs. So even more power leveling. This episode is just like a bonanza for skill perks. I wonder if we can hit them from here. Fire in the hole! Well, we got it over the wall, but it didn't hit anybody. So that's all right. It'll just take an extra 5 seconds to run down here. We're going to be able to line up archers over here. If the siege tower is down, then all we have to do is defend this and jam up the gate, and the enemy's completely fucked here. FUC and capital. FUCT is my favorite way of saying it. Capital letters. My wife and I are considering making some shirts, some tactical enlightenment shirts. There's a bunch of guys that want merchandise. That's wholly foreign concept to me, but if you build it, they will come, right? And these guys are routing too. Unbelievable, man. We're getting kind of ripped off here today in Siege. I mean, I guess we did too good of a job back to back. These bitches don't want any. And of course, looking at it objectively, they were fucked. Holy shit, he threw his throwing axe a long ways. I mean, we've got elevation here, but this is new for me, right? Having throwing axes that go halfway across the map. And of course, I would have loved to have this be an epic tight siege, but I guess it's at least going to function as a guide. There's how you defend that castle. God, we just destroyed these poor sturgeons. I wish they had 3,500. And that's coming, of course. We are going to run some epic siege. Once we get the mods ripping, the battle size mod, we're going to make the enemy lethal, and we're going to defend these cities and castles, and it's going to be a blast. Man, so the king now is, you know, he's our best friend. And basically, he should just bring his wives out and let us pick. Maybe he'll let us take a couple. You know, we just saved his bacon here for sure. Be captured. The sturgeons would be plowing into the homeland. So it's pretty close to time to being a vassal here. And of course, the loot is legendary everything. It's just, let's just put legendary on front of the words of every piece of equipment. When it rains, I guess it pours. Where's the city? I'm a little disoriented. Here we go. Let's go see if there's even more legendary, as if it wasn't absurd enough, right? We still have 586,000 gold. It's burning a hole in my pocket. But to finish that point, there are some guys who want merchandise, tactical enlightenment merchandise. So my wife and I are working on that. It would probably be a Patreon thing. And one of the things I'm working on is Carpe fucking diem, which is seize the fucking day. It's a nice amalgamation of profanity-laced English with Latin. But we'll see. We'll see if there's a demand for it or not. It would probably just be for the upper echelon of Patreon supporters as a thank you. It'd be free, of course. Unless people, I guess, unless they wanted to buy it. I'm not familiar with how this works. Now, I'm crossing my fingers here, right? Let's see. What I'm going to hope for is, let's see, a tier 6 legendary axe, right? Since it's raining, we might as well pray to the rain gods. And this pretty woman, you know, she could enter our army at some point. Never miss an opportunity to say hi to a pretty woman. You know, don't be a creeper, but say nice, you know, something nice. And whoa. I mean, every city, this is even nicer than the shit we have. Now, I don't think it's better drip, but it's probably the best piece of armor, just about the best piece of armor you can get. And here's a legend. Okay, so it's a tier 5 axe, but we'll take that. We'll take... My head is starting to, like I said, it's really starting to swirl. I feel bewildered by upper end gear. It feels, you know, a little OP maybe. Legendary everything. There's just elite helmets and elite lordly this and this is all just shit at the store. We're going to run out of money quickly. And it occurs to me a couple different things. I just had a thought. First, you know, it does really sound like Tail Worlds is listening because I was amongst several voices, I think, that were saying, look, we need more uses for money, especially late game Bannerlord. Like, you know, you can't even really buy shit with your money. Well, now you can, evidently, right? I mean, we're going to spend a lot of money here on this armor. Now, they should triple the prices of it, make it like 2 million or something for a piece of armor like this. And I don't think we'll wear it, right? That it's kind of incongruous with the rest of his gear, but our infantry tank will, right? The guy who's going into the front of the line. I got to sell some shit though, but my God, man, when it rains gear, it pours. We got a legendary tier 5 axe, but it's still going to be really nasty, man. All right, we are recording again. We sold loot here for a long time, and we still have 300,000. I was able to sell a bunch of our trinkets. We can, here, let's run an experiment. Let's put a bunch of these lords. So 27,000 for 6 lords. So that's like 4,000 or 5,000 each. And let's try to put one in the dungeon and see how it compares. And again, you guys can feel free to educate me. 6. So we get 1,050 by putting her in the dungeon. I just don't get it. I get 170 points. 6 times 1, so 28. 34, 60, 102, 1,020 gold. I don't know. I just don't understand. I know you get relations, and that must be the reason people do that, right? They put it in there for relations, and then you're going to charm them later on. I don't do the charm game, right? Especially Glaron Heavyhand. Glaron Heavyhand has no charm. This guy's 7 foot tall. He's got halitosis. He's a dyspeptic, angry, you know, unpleasant person to be around. Whoops. I didn't mean to click that. I don't know if we're ready. I guess we could swear homage, but first I want a woman, right? Let's get some women here. Bring out some women, then maybe we'll talk. He's like, you changed your mind. What do you got? You got some naked women? We're interested. Where's this shit? Right here. Nah, see, we married this gal in our first campaign, and she's a perfectly solid
sort of plain wife. I'm seeking a savage, badass woman to match Glaron Heavyhand. We're going to be discerning here, right? We're going to be picky, but I think we will, right? It's time. You guys are probably impatiently waiting us to be a vassal. And we've sort of played out the mercenary stage, right? So the Forkbeards join the kingdom of the Nordvig, and Glaron Heavyhand is much taller than the king. Even kneeling, he's just a behemoth, a hulking man. Look at his quadriceps are 250 pounds each. This is an awesome, big-looking character. And it's very temporary there, King. We're going to swear fealty here. We will be your vassal, purportedly, ostensibly, temporarily, some other ease. Get us some good women quickly, or it's off with your head, King, right? We're going to definitely be belligerent before too long. I'm going to play the vassal stage for a little while because there's a lot of guys that want to know how to do Nord tactics against the Khazate, against Sturgia, against Valandia. So I'm not going to give you an exact amount of episodes, but count on at least a few 3 episodes here being a vassal. We also need a home, all right? Now, they're almost certainly going to vote us the next castle that falls, right? We're clan tier 4, clan tier 5, somewhere in there. And there's a bunch of different factors that go into getting voted and getting on the list and then getting successfully voted for your first fief. One of them is being 7 feet tall, right? They better be voting this guy fiefs, otherwise he'll beat them to death with his fists. That's not a factor. It's too bad that wasn't. Like, if your character looks badass, you get more fiefs. Or if you're malicious and cruel. But what is a factor is the fact that we don't have any. We're homeless. And so the AI is basically designed to feel bad for you, and you're trapped. This guy's in a valley. You can't escape. Oh, shit, he did escape. God, it's amazing how bad I look sometimes on YouTube. Come here, dude. Get over here. Grab you by the ear. Let's just auto-resolve this, even though it'll be stupid amount of casualties. I'm about to show you another little exploit here. We've done this before. We're going to do it again here in case this is, there's 100 new people or 100 people who've never been at this stage. Well, we get a bunch of free troops anyways. We're not taking the horses. Of course, we'll eat those. Glaron Heavyhand doesn't like horses, but they're tasty. You roast them. Horses. We'll take some of these prisoners too. One of the biggest exploits early on right now, and of course it's not that big of an exploit, but what we're going to do is whatever fief gets voted for us, almost certainly I'm going to give it up, but only after we take all the free troops they dump into it, right? This castle to the south of us here, there's a decent chance. I didn't see the name of it. Influence is a factor too. If you have a lot of influence, it seems like you get keep sieges. If you want to know the inner guts of a system, I always tell you go to Strat Gaming Guide or somebody like that who just absolutely dives deep into the meta of the game. But I can tell you, you're almost certainly, see 56%, right? This Asgothagal was on the list. We don't even have to vote, right? We get to keep all our income. They vote us Vladiv Castle, and we're gonna treat it the same way that the casino gangsters. It was not casino. It was in Goodfellas, where they treated the guy's place. He came to the mob seeking protection. And they're like, sure, we'll take over your business, and they basically liquidated the place, sold all the assets, and then they burned it down and collected insurance money. That's what we're gonna do here, right? As soon as we get rid of these horses, I guess we can dump some of the Scuzz troops in here. Doesn't really matter. We're going to turn this keep over before too long. The extra troops we're going to steal and make a party out of, right? These are our troops now. We're going to put them on... here, this gal's a healer. We'll start building her up as a player clan character. Her clan name I already decided is going to be the River of Blood. I always like to, to cue off of their name. Menja of the River. So sure, her clan will definitely be the River of Blood. And we'll talk more about what characters, what companions make ideal player clan leaders, because there are some that make dismal player clan leaders. We'll talk about how to use them as well. We're going to get into all of that in this campaign. This is going to be kind of one-stop shop. And if I don't know the answer, I will send you to a Strat Gaming guy or Flesson19 or whoever. I will send you to somebody who does, right? Or somebody in the comments will answer it, right? We'll try to... The old saying, between me and my brother, we know everything, right? And then you're supposed to ask me a question, and I say, that's one my brother knows, right? The old joke. Nobody laughs. But we're going to try to show you guys some trips and some tricks and tips too, not trips and ticks. You don't want any ticks. My dyslexia firing off here. All right, so you know what? Let's see here. I like a little bit of influence, but I'm going to break these episodes off because I've been talking about it and some guys have been mentioning it in the comments. I think we're going to go try to take the island city. It's way on the other side of the map. I'm not sure about this decision because we're going to be quite literally on an island. That means we're not going to get help, right? We're going to have to do it ourselves. But it also will mean more action, probably, and more ocean battles. So I think that makes sense. What that means, though, is we got to do a little bit of preparation for it. And shit's happening here because 8 is now declaring war on us. So the campaign's at a good spot to stop this episode. Next episode, we're going to go sail across the 7 seas and beat the shit out of some Valandians. We're going to assemble our first little army. We will talk about campaign strategy and other shit. More profanity. Do you want to see more? Now is your time to subscribe. Please hit that like button on the way out, friends. I love you fellas, especially if you hit the like button. And I will see you guys next time.